Oilerslive podcast. Oilerslive podcast.
Now, get ready to talk hockey. Streaming from the Oilers Live studio. Subscribe or follow today. Oilers Live studio.
Hey, and welcome to Oilers Live. Going live. Not a lot of smiles on the face tonight, I guess. Although I'll smile anyway, because that's who I am. Not a great game tonight. Actually, about midway through the third, questioned my sanity, whether or not I'd go live tonight or not. But put the tweet out there. Figured I'd make it happen. So, first, if you're tuning in, thanks for tuning in. You can go, if you end up going mobile and you need to, or you want to listen, you can go to the Simple Radio app. Search for Oilers Live. You can listen to that on your iTunes or Apple Auto or Android Auto. That'll help you out. Or you can go onto Facebook. I'm on Facebook Live, YouTube, streaming there as well. Twitch, you name it. I'm everywhere. But best place, most interactive, generally Periscope on Twitter. So my guess is also, if you're listening right now, you had a chance to watch the game tonight. And, well, it wasn't a good one. 6-3 loss for the Oilers. Started out really well, a couple times up. And then game turning point, Puljujärvi, poor guy, loses the puck on the blue line. Kucherov is gone for his second power play of the night, or not second power play, second breakaway of the night at that point, but then he scores on this one. You can't blame this one on Koskinen. His goaltending was outstanding. He saved that one on Stamkos early with the glove. Was unbelievable. So tonight, we can talk about this game. We'll probably talk about the game, maybe what's going on with the roster. Lots of things to talk about with the Oilers as we go into Christmas. A couple things I want to point out just quickly. If you haven't been to my Twitter profile recently, you might not know that we are going to do an Oilers Live Cup in Calgary, and that's April 9th. When the Battle of Alberta is here. We're going to do that in Calgary, and details will come out near the end of January. I'll start taking registrations, so spectators and fans, and just meet tons of different folks from Twitterland and Facebook maybe, or wherever that listen to the podcast, and maybe some that just follow me on Twitter and never listen to the podcast. I'm sure they're out there as well. Toy Boy Mike says, who's my favorite player? Well, I mean, you can't Draisaitl, or not Draisaitl, McDavid is definitely got to be on everyone's top list, but anyone who's not McDavid, Draisaitl's right up there. Nuge. I mean, I'm a big fan of the team. One thing, let's see. What'd you buy me for Christmas, and when should I expect it? Well, you got a lifetime subscription to the Oilers Live podcast, Toy Boy. So feel free to listen anytime. So you can find me on iTunes, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. So what else? Let's chat a few things, about the Oilers. Going into the game, of course, the big talk was all about Puljujärvi being on the top line with Nuge and McDavid. Started out really great. That forecheck that led to the nice give and go for Nuge and McDavid. That was all Puljujärvi, and they're lifting the stick and getting that puck out. And, he had a rough game. Let's be honest. It's a lot to put on him. I was surprised to hear Berkey say, in the intermission, sort of defend the kid and say, we need some patience and go that route. I think we do, right? Naslund, he brought up, was about the same through 3 years. Yeah, Puljujarvi was and is still a top prospect in my mind. You can't put him up there for, one game and then decide that that's not the right fit. It wasn't his night, obviously. Started out well, as I said, but just didn't finish off. 200 assists for McDavid tonight. So if you didn't see that, only 5 other people before they were 22 had 200 assists. And that's Howardchuk, Lemieux, Crosby, and Gretzky. In reverse order, of course. So pretty unbelievable. So for those, I saw yesterday after or a couple days ago after the Flames Tampa Bay game, Flames Lightning game, some folks from Calgary suggesting that Gaudreau was in the same conversation as best player in the world. Now, I'm not going to put down Gaudreau because he's one hell of a talent. And, there's a number of highlight reel goals, but he's just, McDavid's in a class by himself. And as negative as we can be after a 3-game loss, we can still, we still have him to watch every night. Listen to the Oilers post-game on the stream, the Facebook live stream. And, it was, it was interesting. Chason looked somewhat disappointed, which he should be. Everybody knows there's the injury bug is hanging over everybody's head. Defense, obviously. I tweeted out probably 2, 3, I don't know, maybe even a week ago about whenever Hitchcock said the more Nurse plays, the better he gets. And I didn't think that's a polarizing statement, right? Some of you out there, I know some of you are on the, sorry, I'm going to cut that thought short. And Locating Oil says, new coach boost is over, time for a new GM boost. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not, Loke, I'm not as big on changing out the GM as you, but maybe that's in the works. I'm hoping, I hope for the sake of the playoffs that doesn't happen, because as Nicholson said, if we make the playoffs, he's staying on. So where was I? Oh yeah, talking about injuries. So. One thing I'd like to talk about if you guys call in tonight, and I'm going to keep this short tonight. I think I'll be done by midnight. Just wanted to do a quick post game before Christmas. And if you want to call in and wish me and the other Twitter fans and other folks out there a Merry Christmas and call a few people out in a good way, give a call in tonight at 587-907-LIVE. That's 587-907-5483. Phone lines will be open all night. Let's just see. Loke says Nurse threw a grenade to Puljujarvi. He did, actually. It was still a tough game, I thought, after that goal for Puljujarvi. It was still a little bit, or after he had the assist on that goal, it was still a little bit tough for him. But you know what? He's a kid. He's still learning to play the game. He does have. He goes in, he has a forecheck quite a bit, does quite well, I think, and he's learning. And Hitch is, I think, the guy, right? The one thing us Oilers fans seem to be agreeing on right now is our love for Hitchcock, and can't argue. I mean, the guy's easy to listen to. He knows hockey. And, tonight he talked about it. He said, he felt like, the third goal really broke, his words, third goal really broke our back. Played well up until the 7-minute mark of the second period. And he wasn't saying that they played their best hockey. What he was saying is they played well enough against a Lightning team that and you guys saw it tonight. You've seen it if you've watched any of their games. This is a team that's they're definitely going to the playoffs, and it would be a severe disappointment for their fans if they didn't make it to the Stanley Cup. And so Oilers were in tough. 3 of the top 5 D men out has been all been talked about. Loke, have a great Christmas. Thanks for tuning in as always. I understand not everybody's going to be listening all the way through tonight. It's been it's Christmas time, so everybody's got places to be and everything. So around the league tonight, nothing really too awful for us. Of course, Anaheim lost to Buffalo, and Vegas got a single point in their game, losing in overtime. Flames lost their 3rd in a row, and to St. Louis, so that's good. Kings beat San Jose in overtime, so San Jose gets a point. Kings are so far back that they're not really a concern at this point. Hopefully they never become a concern. St. Louis, though, has picked it up. They're now at 500 under Berube, so got to worry about them. Might make the loss the other day against them a little bit easier to swallow, knowing that they're, maybe turning their season around, but they weren't expected to have the season they've had up until now. So I don't think they're as bad as they've been. Berube certainly, starting to make his mark. So if you call in tonight, I'd love to know what you think. Loke brought it up earlier. We had a bit of a coach boost. Now we're 9-5-1 under Hitchcock. 3 losses in a row, 3 not so great losses in a row. I'd love to know what you think. Really, it was disappointing tonight. I felt good. I felt like they had some time, a couple days off of games to work on a couple of things. We didn't really, they scored twice on the power play tonight, but I'm not sure that we saw or had enough power play time to really see if there was any major difference. Obviously, having Chason there, Chason has been outstanding this year, right? Nice little tip for the goal on Nurse's shot. And then that Connor McDavid to Draisaitl. That to me, that's the kind of goals we've been scoring all year on the power play, is the goals off the rush. And I think I said it to somebody earlier. It might be, if we could, I would almost tell the Oilers to, if they don't score on the rush, to take the puck out and just try it again, and go for it again, right, on another rush, because that seems to be the only way they can score on the power play. It's just not been a great power play. So again, if you want to call in tonight, I'm not going to be on here too long. 587-907-5483. No guests tonight. Would like to say that Boxing Day is 1 year of Oilerslive, and it's been a fantastic trip for me. I've met tons of people. Of course, we had the Oilerslive Cup at the last Battle of Alberta in Edmonton, and that was great. Great to meet everybody, and it's been super fun to interact with Oilers fans this year, the ups and the downs, of course. And, I think we get a bad name, but reality is, we've been through a lot, right? A lot of non-playoff years, and we just want playoffs. But at the end of the day, is there a more resilient fan base out there? I'll take a cheap shot at the Flames, because I can tell you that I see more Flames jerseys when the Flames are winning, and I see absolutely no Flames jerseys when they're not. And yeah, of course, there's fans that they stick it out, but I always see Oilers jerseys. And as an Oilers fan walking around, you know how it can be sometimes. If everybody. I was at an event the other day, and somebody says, "I wish you get another lottery win." Was their Christmas wish for me. So we get tripped quite a bit, but you know what? We keep coming back. We're good fans, and this year has just solidified that for me. And some of the other stories with the hockey game and the donations that came in for autism, Chinook Autism Society, that's all been great stuff. So I'm appreciative of it, and on the 27th, after the game, I'm going to do a live episode. It's going to be the anniversary episode. I'm going to have SPR, goes by the Oil Night on Twitter, and Beer League Heroes, who were two guys that love them or hate them. And I know they're also polarizing fans. They've been there from first couple episodes and really have helped me out. And so, you know what? The three of us will get on and have some fun. Let's talk about Caleb Jones and, caller. We got Mike on the phone. Just hold on, Mike. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike. How are you?
Good. Thanks for calling in, and early Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas to you, my friend.
So, what you got something you want to say, or you want to chat about the game tonight?
I think we ran into a little bit of a juggernaut that's probably going to be a team that's going to be in the Stanley Cup final. So I thought we were good for about a period and a half, and then I think a better team sort of caught up to us. But they've got a few days to think about that and then get back on the horse. Can't let this 3-game losing streak now extend to 4.
So to give you some thought on this, in roughly the same amount of games played, they've played one more game than us. Tampa Bay has scored 154 goals, and Edmonton scored 102. That's over a goal a game difference. It's absolutely unreal. Like they are a juggernaut. Like they, I don't know what more can you say about them. They're outstanding. Yeah. I don't know what else you could say. It's crazy to think at the level of offense they have, and you get a little bit more respect for Stamkos and Kucherov. And I saw a lot of tweets from people tonight that said, they knew Kucherov was good, but they didn't realize just how good. That team's put together, and then defensively, they're solid too. I mean, Hedman's amazing. Well, he won the Norris. So, Braden Point, awesome player. That team's great. I remember having Emilio Estevez from Raw Charge on one of the podcasts earlier in the year, last year, and he was pretty excited about the team. Obviously, they didn't go far enough in the playoffs last year, but I think they've changed somewhat. They should be good. Any other thoughts? What about your thoughts on defense?
I thought Nurse was on the verge of having a spectacular game tonight. I think it's time that some decisions are made, though. To me, they need to do something, whether it's call up Bear or somebody else. But we're definitely missing Clefbaum. That's pretty evident. So they need a bit of a stopgap here. in my opinion.
Yeah, time. We've got some time now. I think Hitchcock will take the break to think about personnel and other things. He listening to him after the game, Spector asked a tough question. Like, what are you going to do? Right? You've got two lines producing, and that's it. And he's right. Obviously, much is made on Lucic and his lack of goal production. So, there's a lot of different things that need to be done. Having Jujar out actually, is a hole as well, right? I don't know that we can. He's played well as of late. I think we need him back. So, it'd be good to have him back. Suspension was, crap.
2 games.
Yeah. Yeah, it was awful, right? But it is what it is, and so we'll have him back after the break, and then I'm guessing we're going to see obviously new lines then, but I think, and don't quote me on this, but I do believe a couple of days ago, and this was. Oil Knight and Kelly from Beer League Heroes that brought this up to my attention. Hitchcock indicated that Puljujarvi would only be on that top line 1, maybe 2 games tops until JJ got back.
Didn't look like he survived the whole game either, because later in the game he was out with different personnel, right?
Yeah. What about that? And I think Oilers fans have a reason to be upset that holding penalty against Kucherov. Well, it was who was it? Larson put one hand on him, and they called the penalty. Might be the garbage call Oilers fans have been dreading all year, and Tampa Bay's power play is legit.
Pretty lethal, yeah.
Yeah. Did you see any changes on the power play tonight? I was kind of hoping to see more, different setup. Looked pretty close to the same. I think maybe Hitchcock needs more time. I'm not sure, or maybe his plan is not to change it. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, it was nice to see Nurse get a shot, actually get through to the net. I think Chason got credit for the goal, but to me, I didn't see a redirection on that myself. But yeah, I don't know. To me, that puck needs to start moving around a little bit more. Tonight I think was a little bit different, but the last couple of games, I mean, it's pretty stagnant, and once the puck actually gets down low in the slots or on the kind of on the left or right hand side or around the circles, nobody's shooting the puck, and you got to let it go. You got to make the defense sort of honor that shot, and then they'll come out to you, and that'll open up kind of the tic-tac-toe play that they keep trying to do over and over.
Yeah,
that's my biggest fault with their power play right now is they get the puck, and then they get it sort of around the circles, and then they try to make a pass to one side of the crease, and they're trying kind of for that crease tap in sort of goal, and it's too predictable. People need to shoot the puck and make people honor that shot and react to that, and then go from there.
At the very least, do something different, right? Like at least once in a while. I think the having that quick shot though is a big deal, and moving the puck faster. I watch. Typically, especially now that the power play is struggling, I'll watch the other teams and what they're doing, and you watch Tampa how fast they move the puck. Right? The Oilers seem to slow it down drastically on the power play. They get the puck, they're looking around, not a lot of one-touch passes, right? Whereas you get a team like Tampa in, and that puck is, rattling around the outside until the quick shot happens. And I hate myself for quoting Remenda, but as he likes to say, don't dust it off and shoot it in. Now I'm just gonna forget that I ever quoted Remenda.
I mean, the first goal was nice like that, like Nuge to McDavid back to Nuge, and it's in the net before you know it. And I was actually sitting having drinks with Rob Inked Oil there.
Oh yeah,
in Grand Prairie here, and yeah, your name came up a bit for a second, but we kind of laughed about, you know, that very thing. You know, it wasn't Eberle that got the pass from McDavid, it was Nuge, and it was a one-timer, and it was in the net. Why isn't that happening on the power play? You know, same sort of thing.
Yeah, they seem to, you know, take the puck and just relax with it. I don't know. I mean, DeBrusque brought it up last game, right? No urgency.
No, yeah, no urgency is right.
And you know, to me, it makes no sense when you got a guy like McDavid out there, right? I mean, they're, you know, if you're defending against that power play, you're happy to sit back and just let them wait for that perfect pass and get your sticks in the way. You know, they never get out of position, right? The other team is never out of position. You watch Tampa Bay, and they're moving the puck so much that they're waiting, just like we do when it's 3-on-3 in the overtime, right? Is you keep moving the puck around and you wait and you wait and you wait for that odd man, right? Or for somebody to fall out of position, and then you got the shot. And we just can't seem to get that done. And I, you know, it pains me to no end because we just have such talent out there. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. Obviously, you know, everybody's got the break. Do they get a practice in before the next game? I don't think they do.
What is their next game? Like the 27th?
Yeah.
They've got a decent little break here. Yeah, I think it's the 27th against Vancouver.
Yeah. Now
so they get a few days. They get a few days. I think people will probably go wherever they go all over the country for kind of their Christmas break, and they'll probably be back on Boxing Day. And
now, on a positive note, right?
Vancouver's in Edmonton for their next game, so
that's right. Yeah. On a positive note, you know, we're sitting tied for the final wild card spot. Dallas pulls ahead of us tonight, but everybody that's in that hunt has been losing lately. So we're not losing any ground. But I do see that game against Vancouver as, you know, the first time in a long time that we've had a bit of a must-win situation. We got to get out of the slump. Vancouver's as good a team as any. They're right in there in the mix as well, which is crazy to me, given the type of team that they have. You know, we need to pull that one out, and we got to get back on the winning side. And you know, lose 3 in a row, losing 2 in a row, I never think is that bad. 3 in a row, though, to me is scary proposition as you move on and move forward. It means something's wrong, right? And, you know, there's a lot of people. Yeah, there's lots of things wrong, obviously, right now. Not the least of it, which are the injuries. What do you think of Koskinen tonight? You know what? I thought the game could have been 8-3. He made some beauties. That save against Kucherov on the first breakaway, and then the glove on Stamkos that time. I was sure, actually. I put my head down because I thought that Stamkos scored. Thoughts?
My thoughts on him are, I think he had a solid first period, probably about a period and a half in. And then I think he started to get overwhelmed.
Yeah, I would not. Yeah, and let's not forget, right, who we're playing against. There's five of those goals are you know, with him in net. One's obviously an empty netter. You can't expect him to save every breakaway. So Kucherov gets 2 against arguably one of the best players in the league, right? And Kucherov, So for him to make that one save where he saved the 5-hole was outstanding. Stamkos, I mean, easily one of the better goal scorers in the league this year. Any year that he's been in the league, he gets 2. That one was just on the power play where he did the one-timer. It was beautifully placed, about 12, 13 inches up on the right alongside the post. I mean, that goes in 100% of the time if you take it off the one-timer, so that was nice. That JT Miller goal, I mean, he had no chance there either, right? Miller had the inside on Kajula. That was one of the few times that Gravel kind of fell on that one, right? Like he got twisted up on the reverse, which I thought felt a little bit weird that he didn't see. I thought Gravel and Jones have been probably 2 of our best defensemen on the team in a while. But you know what? I really, I can't think of a goal. Maybe that Stamkos goal where he came in from the slot. But again, it's Stamkos, and he just, he hits the right spots, right? What was the 5th goal that I'm missing?
There was more than one blown assignment.
Yeah,
I think it was a bit. I think it was a bit of a Chinese field. Chinese fire alarm drill again. Sometimes in our own zone, we were leaving guys open, sort of in the slot. There'd be one pass, sort of over to one side or the other, and then back into the middle. And by the time it got the pass got to the middle, we had nobody there. So you're sort of leaving your goalie hung out to dry.
Yeah.
I don't really blame Koskinen for the loss whatsoever, but I wouldn't give him 110% on the game either. To me, he was about an 80, and a lot of times that's good enough to get it done. But against a team like Tampa, it just, it isn't.
Yeah, if we'd won, I mean, it might have been because he stole the game. Tampa Bay, though, hats off to them.
Yeah.
They are, as everybody knows,
they're good.
They're good. They are a juggernaut. That's what you said earlier. That you just can't you can't have any mix-ups with them. Hard to play against a team like that when you're missing Kara, Russell, Clefbaum, Sekera. Although, obviously we've gone without Sekera all year. That's a tough go. I think that we, it'd be nice to get some of these guys back. What's the word on Russell? Have you heard anything on him?
The only thing that I've heard is Bob Stauffer's speculation that it's his groin because he's had a groin injury in the past. I don't know what kind of stock I put into that, but that is the only thing I've heard on it. From what I've been gathering is that it's not going to be that much longer, that he probably is back for their next game, but I haven't heard anything from the team, so that sort of concerns me a little bit.
Yeah. Likely back after Christmas is the latest I see on the 20th. One game before Christmas. Yeah, so, okay. So it was on the IR. Got retroactively put on IR back after Christmas. So maybe we see him against Vancouver. I know there's a whole ton of people out there that are not big Russell fans, but you know what? He's still big fan or not. He's still a key part of that top 4. And I think, he makes a hell of a difference. And, you're right, though. One thing, the one thing that I think if you had somebody other than Garrison in there, like Garrison and Benning, I've said it before, they're like kryptonite to each other. The two of them get on the ice together, and it's awful. And Gravel and Jones, on the other hand, like, how could you separate those two? He's been awesome. They've been awesome together. And Jones, you know what? I've loved what we've seen of Jones. He's not playing big minutes, obviously. You can't put him in that situation yet, but I don't think you can be. I don't think you can complain at all what we've seen of him, and especially what we've asked of him. I think my personal opinion is, and you brought it up earlier, bring up Bear, put him on the power play, see what that big shot can do, and go from that there. I mean, the focus has got to be getting back on the winning track, getting some of these bits and pieces out of the team. Losing to Vancouver and then St. Louis though was hard, right? Like that's
Well, that's been the kind of the Achilles heel of this team for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. We play good against better echelon teams, but teams lower in the standings, I don't know if it's because they take them lightly or the other teams just get up for games against Edmonton or what it is, but they have a harder time against sort of those bottom feeding teams, and they play well against the upper echelon teams. I think it's because maybe because you have to play well against those teams or you'll just get embarrassed.
yeah.
And that seems to be the way it goes.
Yeah.
I think with, Garrison, I just don't think that guy's a NHL caliber player anymore. And yeah, when you talk about Jones and Gravel, I've liked what I've seen all year of Kevin Gravel. He's been steady. He's been solid. He's physical. He's big. He can handle it, but he makes plays. And with Caleb Jones, since he's been up, the only thing I've seen that I was a bit of a mistake from a rookie was the other night when they were playing St. Louis. He kind of stuck his stick in front of I'm not sure if it was Tarasenko's goal or whatever, but he kind of basically screened Talbot. Talbot didn't have a prayer because his stick was in the way of the puck and he didn't get the puck, so it blew by him. But other than that, I've really liked his play. He's solid and he's steady, and a little Evan Bouchard sort of, I think, in his game where he makes the little plays.
Yeah, there's obviously there's the Fire Shirelli contingent out there. Next year, I'm excited to see what we have. If we can pull out a playoff berth this year, if we can just kind of get it together, and if Hitchcock's the guy, right? Like I remember when he was hired, I had no idea what to expect, but I really feel like if we're going to get a playoff spot, he's the guy to get this team moving in the right direction. If we can do that, and I think we've got Bouchard coming up next year. Obviously Jones, I think he can fight for a roster spot full time next year, if not stay this year. We actually in Clefbaum's healthy and or maybe you move one of these guys at some point for somebody who you think will stay healthy but is same caliber of defenseman. I think we've got finally sort of the underpinnings of a good defense. But obviously injuries are hindering us from really truly knowing what's going on, and Sport Major brings sport. Always listen to Sport Major says we were talking about next year, last year. Yes, we were. Well, welcome to oil country, Sport Major. And
things
yeah.
Things are going to get interesting here as soon as Clefbaum and Russell get healthy, because I think Caleb Jones is going to push Garrison and Matthew Benning out of the lineup.
Yeah, my feeling on Benning is mixed because earlier in the season, every time I did a show, I would roast him because I hated the way he was playing, and then he when Hitch came on and he was. I thought there was about 4 or 5 games where he was one of our best defensemen, and I was really starting to like him. And then he gets put back with Garrison, and you go look at any of the numbers around the Garrison and Benning combo, and those two are absolutely awful. and I just think Benning's not good enough to play with a guy like Garrison. And if Benning's a 6'7" guy. I think Gravel should have always been our, Gravel was never a 7 on this team, right? Although he was treated that way early on, I think he should have been in the lineup from the start. And he's got such good hockey IQ as a defenseman. I've not. There's not been a game where I've watched Gravel play where I'm absolutely infuriated with his play. Benning, on the other hand, it depends night in, night out, and if he's fully engaged and he's playing a tough game, he's got a good shot on occasion, and he can be a welcome part of the defense, but you can't put him with Garrison. And I'm surprised we haven't made the call up. I haven't looked at all of the things yet to see, what it is that's stopped them from calling up Bear. But I'd like to see Bear come up. If Clefbaum's obviously out for a little while, Russell's back, so we'd have Nurse is probably going to stick in that big minutes role on the first D pair, and then we'd have probably Russell and Benning. I'd have to think that you keep Gravel and Jones. Maybe it's just a timing thing for Bear. If Russell's coming back, there's no reason to call him up. Just looking at Twitter right now, David Staples says, so I'm curious what your thoughts are on this. Mr. Staples says, if someone had told you at Christmas Oilers would be real 500, 18 wins, 18 losses, would you have taken it? I.e., would you be happy? What's your thought on that?
Yeah. I think happy would be overrated. I think you want your team to be above 500, but would you take it? Yeah, that means you're in the hunt, and that's always a positive. I mean, it's a major improve, or you're improving over last year, so that's a plus too. But I don't know. I want my team to be pushing, for top 3 spot in the Western Conference is kind of what I think. We've been blessed with basically the Messiah, so you need to have the supporting cast and guys running to be pushing for that higher spot in the league. But I also realize that, a lot of teams that win the President's Trophy get bounced in the first round in the playoffs too. So the season's kind of about, for me, it's about a progression, and you want to peak at the right time. We're in the hunt now. I'll take that, and let's go from here is kind of my attitude. Add a few pieces, get Clefbaum and Russell and tear off his suspension and get healthy and make a charge. We're in good shape. We're fine. It's about start. I said today earlier on Twitter, it's about not so much for me about where we are in the playoff picture. It's about starting to play the right way. You want to start playing games the right way and pushing and elevating your game. I didn't like how we played against St. Louis and Vancouver. Tonight, I thought for about a period and a half, we played really well with it. Basically, in my opinion, the best team in the league. We were pushing. We gave them everything they could handle, and then they sort of took over the game.
Yeah,
a few mistakes and whatever. People sometimes forget that we're still the youngest team in the NHL, so there's going to be some growing pains with this team. But let's start playing the right way. Let's start elevating our game and go from here. Eventually, there's some guys on this team I feel that are going to break out. They've been cold for way too long. Everybody wants to push the Lucic narrative. He's only scored 1 goal in 82 games or whatever, or 2 goals in a full season, that kind of stuff. And me and you could get out there and maybe chip in a goal in 82 games. Who knows? But he's going to break out. He's going to start to score. It's going to start to happen. So let's get behind our team and let's stay positive. enough of the negative Nellies and all that. And look what Taylor Hall's doing in New Jersey, even though they're a bottom feeding team. Who gives a shit? Let's go. This is our team. Let's support them, and away we go. I like this team. I like this group, and I still feel like there's going to be a couple of tweaks, a couple of changes, but we're in good shape.
Sometimes
that's where I come from.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, and quite often in a team like this, where you have there's talent in there that hasn't been playing to their talent level. We talk Lucic all the time, right? I mean, the guy just dropped off a cliff in terms of his offensive production. So you got to think that there's some talent in there, and he's had no shortage of chances. If there was ever a guy, well, I shouldn't say no shortage. It's not like he's getting chances all the time, but he's had chances, right? And quite often it's one or two a game, decent chances in front of the net, and he's not scoring. And sometimes, just whether it's a stick change like Chason. I mean, look at Chason; he's on a career year, and who would have saw that coming? I was thinking tonight, like if, especially after that Puljujarvi dig and then leads to the goal, and if Draisaitl could have manned his own line, then you got two really strong lines that's a difference maker. You look at, I hate to bring up the Leafs, but you look at the Leafs, and there's all this talk about Tavares and Matthews being maybe the first combo of players to hit 50 goals since 95 or 96. And, they're both great players. There's no doubt that they're among the game's elite today. But the reason that they're doing as well as they're doing is because, you've got so much talent spread over one team that it's so hard to defend against. And with the Oilers, you have so much talent on one line that you send your top defenseman, against McDavid every single night. You hook, you hold him, you do all that, and you get rid of him, and then what? And we know Draisaitl is talented enough. We saw it in the playoffs 2 years ago, right? To take a team on his back and do what needs to be done. If he just sort of learns that he's capable of that and leads that second line, then, you have, and Sport Major brings it up, right? Like you've got Backstrom, Kuznetsov with Eller and three centers depth on the Caps, right? Like you have to have depth in scoring so that teams, they have to spread, they're spread out a little bit, right? That's what they do to the Oilers, especially right now that we've got all these defensive injuries. And so, if I had a Christmas wish this year, it's that Draisaitl over the Christmas break kind of realizes just how good a player he is. And he takes it on his back and he says, I'm going to drive my own line, which is what I've been hoping for since the beginning of the season. Yeah, him and McDavid are outstanding. If not one of the best lines in the league. They're right up there. But that's not what we need. We need him to drive a line. Even, with Kara stepping up like he had the few games, I'd be happy with him on a third line in a center role. And Puljujarvi, could maybe thrive on any one of those three lines and learn the game and learn the speed and start to produce, right? Like if we can get that going, this team is what we expect it to be. There'd be some folks out there that hate this roster. They'd be upset at me for saying it, but I don't mind the roster. You just need somebody to, get it into their head that they've got the talent there. And damn it, like Lucic, Mike, I honestly, I think he's done. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he like, I want him to score. I want him to break out. I'm not seeing it. So I don't know what we got to do there, but that's maybe the biggest unfortunate on this team. I like the guy. I think that he plays hard. I like having him on the team. Like I love, I'm at the I go to the games, and when he lays out the big hit, I'm with everybody else yelling "Luch," right? Like I like that, but I don't know. We gotta put him on the fourth line and just accept it for what it is, and let's move on from that. But yeah, anyway,
the problem with Luch is it's too much money for a guy that's a great fourth line player.
Yeah,
like if he wasn't getting paid $6 to $7 million a season, if he's on a contract like Chase on, and he's doing what he's doing, you love the guy. It's incredible, right? But you're paying him $6 million a season, then that comes a different expectation, and it's got to be hard on him. As like from an athlete standpoint, I like what he's doing, and I like the fact that he hasn't mailed it in and quit. And tonight was a little bit of a step back, I think, but in most of the games in recent memory, at least since Hitchcock has taken over, he's played just a physically dominant, incredible hockey game, doing most of the little things right, chipping pucks out, chipping them in, finishing every check that's humanly possible, putting passes on guys' tapes, but no real points or goals to come with it. So at his contract, it's, you judge it at that. And to me, that's a bit disappointing, but that's the nature of the business. I mean, you agreed to that contract, and so you kind of you're responsible to do what you can to live up to it. I admire him for in the summer, shedding probably 20 to 30 pounds of weight. It's not like he was fat before, but he just trimmed down to make himself, more mobile, and it's evident he's done that. But there's no reward for any of the work that the guy's done, and that's the nature of the beast. You got to produce, and I look at it like people talk about a deal to be had or whatever. Well, I don't even think a team would take him if you retained half the salary. So how do you deal that? I don't think you do. And to buy him out, I mean, that doesn't really gain you anything either. So
yeah,
I don't
think
really see a solution.
his contract's buyout proof, right? The way that it's been built, they don't get
pretty much.
Yeah, they don't get much of. They don't get much of anything.
There's no relief
if they buy it out. No, not enough to. That's been the concern. But as the years go, right? I mean, I think going into the summer, it makes a bit of a difference, just given that another year's been burned off the contract. If we can make it into the playoffs, though, I feel like. He's the
you
kind
definitely
of guy,
want him on your team.
Yeah, he's the guy you want on your team. And we can beat that dead horse. I want the guy to succeed, obviously, as we all do, because if he does, then the Oilers do better. And he's not the only problem. Obviously, I think defensively we've got a massive problem. We need more guys who can move the puck up. Jones seems to have some capability in that regard, and we'll see. Once we get some guys back from injury, how that works. Of course, Clefbaum's back not for quite a while, right? Like end of January, I think is what they're talking.
Yeah, I heard it was 6 to 8 weeks, like 2 broken fingers, I think is what his injury was. So
yeah, it's
and they had a surgery on them.
Yeah. Okay, a couple things before I call it a night. You heard, so April 9th here in Calgary, doing Oilers Live Cup number 2. So you're going to captain a team again for me?
Is that how we're doing this, or is it Oilers Flames?
Yeah, we should. we should definitely. No, I'd love if you captained the team. It would be great. And we'll do this again. We're gonna, lots of people have already reached out to me. There's a number of folks from Edmonton that are going to come up for the game. I'll be at the game, of course, too. I've got working on right now location for the after party pregame. I've got the ice secured, so I'll give more details at the end of January. I'll start the registration, but we'll start getting the word out. And Marcus, you should definitely fly out for the game, Sport Major. People I think will be coming again from all over. We will do it as a charity again. I haven't. The last time we did Chinook Autism Society, one of the things I learned in picking the autism message, because I learned about autism, was there's a huge gap in funding and help for what is sort of the first generation of autism children that are becoming adults. And so I'm talked to a autism parent that I know to find out what is a good charity for adults with autism. And so that's probably what we'll support this time. So I'm going to work those fine details out, and so we're going to do a good thing again and hopefully help some people out. We ended up raising about $2,000 for Chinook Autism Society with the first one, which is a good deal. So for those that came out or those that donated, absolutely great. So that's exciting. Also, remind you that on the 27th is the 1-year anniversary of the Oilerslive podcast. I think I've done about 48 episodes. I was trying to count them the other day, but I can't count past 30. So I kind of quit there. And so I've done 48 episodes of Oilerslive. Pretty excited about that. Been great this year. I started out on Twitter with about 250 followers. I'm closing in on 2,000 now, which is great. And people on the Facebook page. So if you haven't liked the Facebook page, go ahead and like that. Go on to YouTube. I could really use YouTube subscriptions. So subscribe there. And then, of course, I get tons of feedback, email, direct messages on Twitter, and just, wonderful messages of support. Everybody has been really great. I'm saying all this right now because we're closing in on Christmas Day, of course, and the New Year, and just want everybody to know just how grateful I've been for this opportunity. I do it because people listen, right? And I quite literally, I've told this story a million times. I expected about 10 or 12 people to listen when I started podcasting, and I figured they'd all be related to me. But no, we're doing really well, and I've had lots of excitement, and so it's good. I'm really happy about that. Anything else, Mike? Any announcements or any last words before we shut it down for the night?
Just wish anybody that's listening a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whichever your flavor is, I guess. It was a pleasure to meet you, Mike, at the Oilerslive Cup, and I really like what you're doing here. I'm glad Pam directed me to your way and cross paths with you because you're a solid guy. And April sounds like a fun little event again, and I will do my best to be there. I'm not sure if I'm going to hotel that one or stay at my uncle's that I don't see that much, but I'll make it down.
That's awesome. I've already had at least I'd say 4 or 5 people that want to come out. We've got the jerseys, of course, from the game we did before. So we've got everything kind of in place and ready. And I think there's still tickets to that game available. So, we can wear our jerseys and go enjoy the Battle of Alberta, and hopefully that's the last game of the season, I believe, right? Hopefully we're sitting in a playoff
I think
spot.
I think that's right there anyways, because usually around 5th, 6th of April, that's when she winds down, and a week after that, playoffs start.
Yep, that's right. So, okay. Well, I just want to say again, thank you to everybody. Have a great holiday. See you on the 27th. Hopefully you tune in. Anniversary episode. I've got the Oil Night. I've got Kelly from Beer League Heroes both joining. Two of my big guests that I've had kind of all the way through that have been a big part of this. So, if you can call in on, that's on, a Thursday? What day is that? Jeez. I'm already in holiday mode. I don't even know. That is Thursday. That's right. Oilers Canucks 7-10 game at Rogers Place. So I'll probably start about 10:30ish. So if you can call in, that'd be great. Everybody have a great night. You too, Mike. Have a good night. Thanks.